down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey now, let's get it together. It's a Negro Nonsense Thursday. You're darn right it is. Scallywags, nutmeggers, and of course you haters. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Thank you all. Now, I realized that I got this today. It was sitting on the printer near the news desk, and it was addressed to me. Thank you, Sheila, who I believe is the person who wrote me this note. They sent me a package. I usually don't do this because I usually don't get I hate using the term fan mail. Please forgive me for using it. For those who know me, it's like, Reach, you don't like that term. I hate that term because fans is from fanatics, and I don't think you folks are fanatics. I love the word supporters. So I'm going to call it from now on supporter mail. And, well, that can have different connotations now that I think about it. Okay, I'm going to have to work that out. Anyway, I received this from Sheila. I haven't opened it up, but I'm opening up now. So, Sheila, just to let you know, I'm doing it right here on the air. Okay. This is, okay. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Okay. All right. I do need to look at this. Okay. This is some secret squirrel type stuff. Okay. I'm going to have to look at this later. Thank you, Sheila. This is, this is very important. By the way, happy Thursday, John Beckman, all the way out in Las Vegas. Jason, happy Thursday to you as well. Zach, who just sent me a note saying, Reese, you have no idea how much this means to Sarah and her dad. I can never thank you enough for that. Don't worry about it, my man. You don't have to thank me enough. Just listen to the program, support the program. That's all the thanks you could give me ever. And it would be all I needed. Oh, and maybe on the other side, maybe tell your friends. Which I hear a lot of you are doing, and I thank you. Word of mouth means everything to the program. We'll get into what Zach is talking about in the next half hour because he's talking about Sarah Fisher. Her father, Robert Fisher, is in jail, I believe, wrongly, after he had to shoot a man who assaulted him in a parking lot of Robert Fisher's own law firm. And what's happened so far is absolutely a tragedy. We'll talk about that, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I also just got off the phone with Robert's lawyer, who is indisposed at the time, but says he will be in his office roughly about 3:30. Maybe we'll talk to him at 4 o'clock, and he'll be able to join the program. I had to yell at him because it was loud where he was, and he was like, who is this? And I'm like, it's Reese. And he was like, where are you from? I'm like, from WTIC. And it was like, and do you need like what was he saying? Oh, do you need like a soundbite? Do you need a statement? I'm like, no, dude, I'm trying to help your client get out of jail. He's like, okay. So sometimes you just got to scream it. So anyway, we'll talk about that in the next half hour. Yesterday during the show, Roland and I were having a conversation about the Christmas party, briefly. And I was saying to Roland, all I have to do is take Roseanne to the Christmas party, dance with her a little bit, and the little tiff that is between us will be all but said and done. Roland, do you care to get on the microphone and join me in applauding me, yours truly, the host of this show, for doing exactly that? You were there. You were at the Christmas party.
Yeah, I think it was more me that made her feel better.
Oh, don't even try it! Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
No. You got on the floor and danced.
Now, listen. I have no problem making a spectacle of myself for my wife.
Oh, you definitely made a spectacle.
I definitely did. I cut a rug out there now, didn't I?
What was that song? Jump on It? Yeah, that's what it was.
Was it what? Which? Oh yeah. The Apache.
Yeah,
the song Apache. Well, you all know the song. Anyway, so from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In fact,
he's the one that.
Yeah, he kind of popularized it in the modern era.
Popular.
Yeah, so, my wife wanted me out there to go dance to that song, so I did. We made a spectacle of it. Jenny Boom Boom from our sister station. She doesn't even call herself that anymore, but Jenny, that's what I know her as. She's been here over 20 years. I've known her when she first started here as Jenny Boom Boom. But she was emceeing the event yesterday, and she got on the dance floor, so she gave me a little bit of that encouragement because she joined us on the floor. And we had fun. So my wife got me, once she could get me out there to embarrass myself, then she started to lighten up. And then I danced with her, cut a rug.
Yeah, she danced for the rest of the time.
She danced the rest of the night. She was so excited to get out and go dancing. Now, I will tell you this, and Roseanne I'm not telling any tales out of school. Roseanne has no rhythm. She cannot dance. She knows it. She says it all the time. She says the one thing that she was not given as a Latina is rhythm. And she loves music, but she cannot dance. She tries. But she must be led, as she says.
You know what?
What's that?
You guys should go to, there's a couples ballroom dance.
Yes.
Out here. I believe one of them is in Avon and one of them is somewhere else. Yeah. So, I'll get the details for you.
Okay. She wants to do that, and that's probably what we're going to end up doing here. Because she wants the ballroom dance. She wants to do all that stuff.
I think that'd be good for you.
That would be great for us. I love dancing with my wife. It makes her happy. She glows when she's dancing. And even though, like I said, she will admit it has no rhythm, that's why she wants to dance with me, is so that I can lead. And she lets me lead. And I love that. Every man feels like a man when your wife or your significant other lets you lead. And that makes her feel good. It makes her feel like a princess, she says. And it was great because she danced the whole night. And she won prizes, which I got to give her. She won prizes in the raffle. And she was not shy about going up there to go get them because she's not even an employee here. She walked right up and grabbed them. She got some Grinch stuff. She got a $100 gift card to a brewery, which we got jacked. Somebody jacked us. They stole it off our table. Not like it was going to be put to good use by us, but we did get jacked. But she got what she really wanted, and that was the Grinch mugs that she wanted to get for me. And then we got a car holder, a phone holder that goes into your, what do you call it, the cup holder thing. She did that whole thing, and we got that thing. And
Reese, you ain't tell him.
What's that? What was I supposed to tell them?
You're the champion.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reese on the radio yesterday, they had a contest. Which was sort of like a name that tune kind of event where there were how many guys were there? 10?
It was like 10 people up there.
Yeah, 10 guys. So 10 guys come up, primarily men. A couple of girls were there as well, but primarily men. Most of them DJs, I might add. Yeah. DJs. And yours truly, Reese on radio, went all the way down to the wire, beating none other than Kid Fresh. None other than Kid Fresh.
Who didn't know my girl.
Who did not know my girl.
Wowzers.
At the end. They were giving me songs that I knew, like right off the bat. And they were giving me personal songs. One song they threw at me, which I thought was hilarious. They threw Cher right at me in my first go-around. And I ended up telling everybody, I said, there may or may not be a video of me dancing to this song in Toronto, Canada, which is true. But they played Cher, Do You Believe Love After Love. I got Survivor, Eye of the Tiger. I got that song right. The song that I only got half right was Mark Anthony.
And I was shocked that you even got Mark Anthony.
That I even got Mark Anthony.
I was shocked.
I know his voice, and he's from New York. He's from the Upper East Side.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's from what they call the El Barrio, which is Upper East Side of Manhattan in Spanish Harlem. So I know his voice. I recognize his voice immediately, but I did not know the song. My answer to the question was Mark Anthony, something Puerto Rican. That was my answer. That's all. I couldn't get that one. And then that was in the final round, which I was supposed to get eliminated for, but because Kid Fresh didn't know his, I got to go again. And he got it wrong. He got My Girl wrong as all. But Matt Sorois, I have to tell you the story about Matt Sorois real quick.
Okay.
This is great. So, Matt was sitting next to me in that contest, and he got eliminated in the first round. How? He was given Man Eater by Hall & Oates, which I was stunned because that's one of my favorite groups of all time. And I know Matt's not young, but he's not old either. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way he gets that wrong. And he didn't. He says, because we only had to name the band. He goes, Wham! Which I lost it. I was like, what? But Matt told me today the reason why. Matt had a ringer who gave him the wrong info. I'm not going to say who the ringer was, but the ringer gave him the wrong answer.
Wow.
And he in himself, he even said to me, he goes, I knew it was Hall & Oates, but I was listening to my ringer. And the ringer said, Wham! And he answered it.
Wow.
It's so hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing.
Hey, that's why you can't. You gotta be fair.
Yes.
You gotta be fair.
You gotta do it right.
See, I did that, and I was fair, and I didn't win any. This is my third year there, and I've never won a prize yet.
You haven't won a prize yet? And it was my first one, and I walked out with 3?
Yeah. And I was honest. I walked up there. You only get 5 tickets.
Yeah.
I went to put my tickets in a bag, and it was an extra just a random strip of 5 tickets there that I could have just
swiped up
and put it in a bag, but I went and did the right thing.
Look at that.
Turned it in.
Look at that. And won nothing. Cheaters never lose, sir.
But I would have felt bad if I did win on that.
Yeah.
That extra set of tickets. So.
No, it was great. It was fun, and I won that. I couldn't believe that I actually got that. I won that prize.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was, and Roseanne put me up to it. She says, they're doing a music contest. You have to go up. And I'm like, I don't want to go up. She goes, no, you're going to win this thing. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh, when I saw, for the trivia, when I saw you up there, I was like, oh, yeah, he's definitely winning that.
Yeah, because you know me.
I've been
sitting right here.
I've been trying to make you get a song wrong from the 70s, 80s. Remember when we used to start? We used to play a lot of music.
Yep.
I used to quiz you every day, and you got it right every day.
Every time. You always. I remember that I remember the one that you really didn't think that I knew was the Madonna's was a Madonna record from the 1996, and it was like a hip hop groove song that she did called "I'm Only Human." A song called Human that she did. And you played the bumper today. You're like, do you know this? I'm like, yeah, it's Madonna. I was like, God, I can't believe that. And actually, it's funny because the song is actually kind of on my Rolodex.
Wow.
Yeah, so I actually like that song. She was, that's what brought the time she was messing around with Tupac.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I knew that.
It was Madonna. Back then she was
everywhere.
Quite the catch.
Everywhere. Rama says, a casual ballroom dancer who has competed. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rama has competed as a ballroom dancer. I would say start with the foxtrot. It's the grandfather of all dances. I agree, and I do like the foxtrot, and that's probably where I'll start. That's definitely a good place to spot. L.A. says, and L.A. is actually out in Cleveland. I love that. That always reminds me of Forrest Gump. There was Dallas from Buffalo. L.A. is in Cleveland. L.A. says ballroom dancing is great. Yes, I will be taking it up with Roseanne. Don't forget also you can call us at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today. President Trump gave his 19-minute speech yesterday. I got duped. I got fooled out of this speech because I got home from the Christmas party knowing that he was doing the speech at 9 o'clock. We didn't get home until about 9:45, and I realized that I missed it. So I go on the New York Post website where they said, see it here or watch it here. And I click on and I noticed that the YouTube clip is 45 minutes long. And I start looking at it and, gives you that please stand by banner. So I'm holding on to the little scroller. It says, please stand by, please stand by, please stand by. All of a sudden, I'm down to the thing. It's like 30 minutes into the video. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I let it go. Still nothing. Move it a little further. All of a sudden, he starts speaking. I listened to the whole speech, and I'm saying to myself, if the whole speech was 45 minutes long, when this video was 45 minutes long, and he started well into 30 minutes of it, like, how long is this? There it was. 19 minutes. And let me tell you something, folks. I got to applaud the President of the United States. Brilliantly done to get it in and get it out. Stand by for that, because we've got a lot of video and audio sound bites to accompany that, because there are some new economy numbers that are out. There's some new polling numbers that have come out. By the way, if you notice, Harry Enton hasn't been around lately. There's a reason for that. We'll explain that as well. So stand by for all of that. Let me just say right off the bat, fantastic Christmas party, 100% fun. I don't think I've been to a Christmas party, a real Christmas party, and I'm trying to remember how long it's been, but I want to say it's been at least 20 years, at least. And when I say at least 20 years, it was probably, I'm trying to remember this, I'm almost certain of it. It was a Christmas party in Manhattan at the Hammerstein Ballroom, I think. It may have been somewhere else, but there was another stadium. But anyway, another concert hall. Yes, it was another concert hall. I'll figure out the name of it. It was with Angelo Ellerby, who was a guest on this program a couple of months ago. When I worked with him at Double Exposure, I went with him to that Christmas party, and I watched the guy get fired, which is always my problem. Never, ever drink at a Christmas party. Never. And wisely, people have drink tickets at them. I was so happy to see that. I was like, okay, good. People have drink tickets. That means they'll probably only have 2 drinks with their spouse. That'll be it. They'll be a little buzzed. Everybody got sauced. No, they didn't. I didn't see anybody get sauced. Everybody looked like they were having a good time. Because me, I'm so glad that I don't drink, but when I go to those things, I won't. Because to me, it's almost like, it's like being at the job. Doesn't matter where it is. It's like being at the job. I won't do it. And I've seen too many movies where everybody does the typical thing, right? Everybody does it. The Christmas party, somebody hooks up, someone does something they're not supposed to do, not feeling it. Or the movie Die Hard breaks out. That's the only way Christmas parties end. The movie Die Hard. That's how it is. Lori says, I took 2 years of ballroom dancing, 7th and 8th grade. My personal favorite was the cha-cha. And Lori also said, drinking at the company events is a career killer. Yeah, damn right. And for most people, it is. All right, when we come back, we will talk about the Robert Fisher case and my conversation with his daughter, Sarah, who is also going to be here on Tuesday, December 30th. She will be a guest on this very program. She'll be here live in the studio. But I will talk to you when we come back about her father's case, what she told me today about that case, and why I'm really, really gung-ho, because it turns out in New York, there's another case just like it brewing. Stand by. More news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Don't worry, Lori. I got you. It's Reese on the Radio. We're back right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. We've got a guest today. Miss Linda Szyncowicz is going to be on the program from fightvoterfraud.org. Again, fightvoterfraud.org. She's going to sit in for a little bit with me to talk about what her organization is doing to make sure that elections are free and fair. So yesterday I was told about this story in Litchfield. You guys always tend to give me a story that I missed. I didn't know anything about it because it started in 2021. And the conviction, or the sentencing, I apologize, took place in June. And in essence, the case is already over. And for some odd reason, it did not reach my desk. And that's my fault, because a story like this should not have missed my desk. But it has. And we are where we are. And Robert Fisher, who is now 78 years old, will very well be about 80 years old. In fact, I think he's 79 now, according to his daughter. 79 now. Is in an infirmary, I should say, as we speak, in jail. He is being well tended to. There are no issues there. He is not in any imminent danger like from other inmates or people like that. You know, it can be dangerous inside a prison, especially when you're serving time that involves someone's death, as Robert Fisher is. But his daughter tells me, and we spoke for a good 20, maybe even 30 minutes today, and she broke down the whole case. I'll get into that in a second. But I got to give it up to her because, one, she loves her dad. She refuses to give up on him, and she wants him home safe. She does not want him to spend his last days in a cell or in an infirmary behind bars. She wants him to be home. She wants to be near him. She wants to hug him. She wants to be as close as she possibly can to him. And she talks to him as often as possible, and she is very, very active in his life. She said something, which I'm going to go to the end of our conversation before I start talking about the beginning of it. And she said something at the end of our conversation that really touched me in a way that I know is affecting her. Her father taught her how to fire a gun and taught her about gun safety and said that if there's ever a moment where you have to pull out that weapon and take the life of someone, you have to understand what happens next. If you take that threat out and you get charged for taking that person out, your life will change. Your family, your friends, people that you know, your job, they will leave you. That's what he told her before he dealt with this. That's what he was teaching his daughter. As he was training her to use a weapon to save her own life, he made her understand there are consequences afterwards. So that you, in that moment where you have to use that firearm, when you do, you are not stunned by people who go, can't be near you. Can't support you. You took a person's life. There are people out there who will do that, and they may be very close to you. He warned his daughter. And then he did it. Why am I mentioning this? I'm reading this article, and this is what Robert Fisher said at sentencing in June. Quote, I acted out of fear and a belief I had no choice but to defend myself. I wish more than anything that I had not been carrying my gun that day, even if not doing so would have resulted in my death. He felt, even at his sentencing, that it was, at that point, what he was going through was worth dying than defending his own life. Now, Robert, I don't know if you're listening to the program. I know that Sarah is. I wish you didn't feel that way. I am not going to criticize the man for feeling that way, but he shouldn't be made to feel that way. The man who was attacking him followed him, premeditated. And I'm sure most of you know the story, but let me just break it down for you for those who do not. Robert Fisher was driving to his office. He left one office to go to another. As he's driving to the office, he notices somebody driving behind him. And he says the person driving behind him isn't tailgating, but they're considerably close. But he doesn't in any time think that he is in danger, that he's being followed. He knows that the car is pretty much making every move that he's making, but he doesn't believe that the person following him is close enough that he is a threat. He isn't thinking about it. But on the last leg of that trip, as he is approaching his office at the top of a hill, His daughter explains that the road goes from one lane to 2 lanes. And you know a 2-lane highway is 1 lane going in either direction. But then it becomes 3 lane. 1 lane going in one direction, 2 lanes going in the other. They are in a 2-lane part of the 202, I believe it is. As he approaches his office, but instead of going into the right lane to allow the car to pass him, because he's thinking it's just a driver trying to, as we call, push the driver ahead, who, they'll move over so they can speed up and go on. But no, he stays in the left lane, sees the 2 lanes. He's thinking at that moment, the car behind him has got to just take advantage and get past him. But then he figures, according to his daughter, oh, he must be going to the same place I'm going to. Maybe he's a guy looking for a lawyer. Maybe he's going to my law office. I hadn't thought of that. Fine. He drives in. He gets into his parking spot, and Bromley pulls up next to him. Bromley pulls up to the spot, creating a V. In other words, noses touching in the parking space. Noses touching, creating what the cars would be considered a V formation. And as Robert Fisher is getting out of his car, according to his daughter, and according to Robert Fisher, Bromley is at his door, screaming at him, "I'm going to kill you," as he's beating the 70-plus-year-old man about the face and head. He does everything in his power to get away from him. Everything. Kicking, defending himself, everything to get away from him. But Bromley does not back down. According to this story, according to the district attorney's account, Bromley was retreating from this attack he was putting on Robert Fisher. We all know the evidence doesn't support that at all, because it would suggest if he was retreating, he probably would have shot him in the shoulder or shot him somewhere on the right arm or the left arm. But if we are looking at this correctly, shot him right in the center mass. According to his daughter and according to Robert Fisher, the beating did stop immediately when Robert Fisher brandished the weapon. When Robert Fisher told him, "Stop, or I'll shoot." According to them, Bromley did stop, thought for a second, and lunged again, resulting in his death. Here's where it gets crazy. According to Sarah and according to Robert Fisher, the crime scene was a mess. It rained. And they did not cover the body of Bromley. They allowed the rain to taint the crime scene. There was no protective cover at all. They didn't even put a protective cover over Bromley's body. Other things that we learn now is that there was a new district attorney, or ADA in this case, who took over the case. The former one had no interest in getting an arrest warrant for Robert Fisher. They were probably led to believe or under the impression that maybe this would be an open and shut case of self-defense. But the new DA, he had other things in mind. According to Sarah, she tells me that this was the first case that the new district attorney took on, and even went so far as to judge shop. In other words, to get a judge who would sign off. And that's how we get to where we are. Matty O said in the chat room yesterday, or he sent me a message, and he jokingly said, how could this guy have possibly be an attorney and not have an attorney who could have, in essence, defended him? Well, turns out the attorney that they had was not sufficient. That's all I'll say. I don't want to besmirch anyone. I wasn't there. I don't know the attorney. But the word on the street is that this attorney was flat-footed throughout the entire case. Very flat-footed throughout the entire case. This should have never happened to a 78-year-old man. There was absolutely no reason why that man should be sitting in a jail cell. He's a former attorney. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's a gun safety instructor. He is all the things. All the things. And they treated him like a common criminal. And the man who assaulted him, who told him he was going to kill him, is being treated like a martyr. How in the hell is that right? How in the hell can anybody sit idly by and not step up for that? When you know that guy Peeler down in Bridgeport who shot that mother and that boy, 8-year-old boy, murdered both of them, can get out on a pardon, and Robert Fisher sits in jail and everybody acts like, I ain't seen nothing. Come on, man. The fact that nobody, like, really? What'd the guy do, vote for Trump? Seriously. When we come back, I'm going to tell you why this bothered me, because it turns out that Robert Fisher isn't the only one. This seems to be commonplace within some of these liberal places. I've got a story in New York. It's in the New York Post today. We'll talk about that when we return. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So, again, the reason why I called Sarah today was because, of course, one, to have her on the program and also to talk to Robert Fisher's attorney. But I saw this story. This comes out of a case in 2023 in Kew Gardens, Queens. And I was saying to Sarah as I spoke to her today that apparently there's a pattern of this going on. This case involves a 67-year-old retired doorman by the name of Charles Foner. I think somebody had called about this yesterday. He's set to begin a 4-year prison sentence on January 14th for possessing unlicensed firearms and weapons discovered after he fatally shot an armed mugger in self-defense. Now, Foner is supposed to be a lifelong gun enthusiast and self-described doomsday prepper with no prior criminal record. He lives in Pennsylvania with his wife now, Jenny, and their ailing dog named Biscuit. And his freedom draws to a close because he's grappling with the profound dread of going to jail. He says, quote, I might not come out, citing his age and health concerns among aging friends and family. Now, this incident dates back in May of 2023 in Kew Gardens, Queens. Plagued by rising crime, and that place actually has rising crime. Weirdly enough, this will make you laugh. Kew Gardens, that's where the criminal courthouse is. And, of course, usually that's where most of the crime is. But back in the day when I was a kid, very wealthy neighborhood, but it's gone straight to crap. Caught on security camera, Foner fired in self-defense, killing a man named Gonzalez. I'm sorry, I went through this one. I went early. Early one morning while returning from buying cigarettes, he carried a revolver for his protection because the neighborhood is so sketchy. He encountered Cody Gonzalez, a man with over 15 prior arrests and a history of mental illness, who aggressively demanded a cigarette and a phone before lunging at Foner with an object toward his neck. Caught on security camera, Foner fired in self-defense, killing Gonzalez. Authorities ruled the shooting was justified and did not charge him in the death. But the investigation of that shooting uncovered his stockpile of about 26 guns. Most of them were unlicensed, leading to the weapon and possession charges. So in essence, sort of a bite of the poison of the poison apple. Couldn't get him on one, you got him on the other. And you sort of ticky-tack, if you will. Foner expressed remorse for the death, said the guy is dead because of me, but insists he had no choice. He's open to alternative penalties like community service, saying he'd gladly clean highways to avoid incarceration. Meanwhile, his family faces financial strain. Jenny, his wife, recently lost her job, and Foner's Social Security benefits will halt during his sentence. Supporters called the case politically motivated, a win for the gun control stats while dangerous criminals roam free. Foner hopes to survive prison by learning skills like welding or tutoring. But the ordeal has left him and his loved ones devastated. And that's the harsh reality as Robert Fisher faces that same fate, going to jail. Jason says, first of all, you don't pull your weapon unless you're prepared to use it. Also, if you use your weapon, there is only one story. One. That's right. There is only one story. You got that right. Matteo says, you just answered your own question. He was a firearm instructor. My guess is that why they had it out for this old pork. Yeah, I agree with you. And Connecticut being as strict as they are, and I think that the prosecutor, this was one of those big cases. You know, I get a manslaughter charge. You know, people fail to realize this, and it's sad, but it's true. The criminal justice system is nothing more than a criminal justice business. Every one of these guys are looking to pad their resumes. I'm sorry. I know there are people. Look, if you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer. Okay? Seriously, if you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer. I get that. You can take there are all types of law that you can go into. But the criminal justice system, when you start becoming prosecutors, those things are nothing more than resume builders for your next career. Usually in politics. Usually. I was a tough on crime prosecutor. When they're going for their Senate bid or their, local, it's always the same case. And the objective is get many convictions as you possibly can. Use the poor and underserved as your ladder to higher political status. That's just how it is. You don't have to like it. It's just true. Bring me a prosecutor today. Bring me one prosecutor today inside those criminal justice systems and tell me that they're not. Well, of course, Reese, of course we are. Yeah. My question is if it's a pursuit of justice, it shouldn't be about your stats. But, again, they talk a good game. I'm out to seek justice. No, you're out for political office. We know the drill. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We've got headlines coming up. Stupidest thing I read today. And don't forget, we've got Linda Szyncowicz coming in as well at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to her about fighting voter fraud as well. Here's John Silva. He's in the WTIC newsroom.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
In a little bit, I'm going to tell you about a new thing that is driving me up the wall, and it's called furniture shopping. Let's get to some news. Folks, if you are in New Haven, be on the lookout for, let's just say, robbers turning the tables on a tactic that you would normally use against them. New Haven police have reported a concerning new tactic in street robberies, where thieves are using pepper spray to subdue their victims before stealing their belongings. This new wrinkle has been observed in multiple incidents, increasing the danger and trauma for those targeted in public spaces. Investigators are stepping up patrols in affected neighborhoods and encouraging residents to travel in groups or to use well-lit areas at night. Community leaders are calling for public awareness campaigns to educate people on self-defense and reporting suspicious activities promptly. I almost feel like when you get into the parking lot, maybe we should go back to, remember they used to put the visors on during COVID? Those ridiculous little, those little visors that they put over their face. I used to laugh at people who used to wear those things. Boy, did they. Police are also investigating a string of business burglaries along Route 395 in Northeast Connecticut, targeting restaurants and stores from Plainfield to Putnam over the past few weeks. Thieves have stolen broken into multiple establishments, stealing cash and valuables, leading to heightened security measures in the area. Local business owners are expressing frustration and fear, with some reporting significant losses that could affect their operations during the busy holiday season. Authorities are urging the public to provide any tips or surveillance footage to help apprehend the suspects and prevent further incidents. Yeah, I don't know what you do about that. I guess you can't keep any cash inside the store, which I don't know if anyone has ever done that. Did you ever work in a retail place where you left cash? I don't remember. We always used to have to put it in the safe during the day, especially large bills. And at the end of the day, somebody would be routed to go, drop it off at the bank, right? It was never a case where we would hold on to them. That's, I don't know. I've never heard anybody not doing that. So, folks, leave no money in your businesses, especially in the 395 corridor. Anyway, nearly 160,000 Connecticut residents have had $198 million in medical debt eliminated since the initiative began last summer, where they provide significant relief for those struggling with medical bills. This program is aimed at alleviating financial burdens from healthcare costs and has been hailed as a major step toward economic stability for low-income families. The effort involves partnerships between state agencies and nonprofit organizations to identify and forgive qualifying debts, while recipients notified directly. Recipients notified directly. Advocates hope this will inspire similar programs elsewhere, highlighting the ongoing issue of medical debt as a barrier to financial health in the state. I got to talk about this much more later on in the show, because I did some digging. And while the governor, Lamont, is trying to brag about this, there's some shadiness in this story. $198 million of debt was not forgiven. It was bought off. And it was bought off for pennies on the dollar. Who did it help? Because they're saying that these people were, alleviated of this debt. This money just goes right to the hospitals. Doesn't go to anybody. It doesn't go to the person, hey, here, pay you. But it just goes to the hospital. Hospital wipes it off. Just wipe it off. And who do you think is doing most of the cost here? Who do you think has most of the cost of these bills? Illegals. We'll get into that. We'll break that down later on. So stand by for that. And now, unheard of, unprecedented, I have two stupidest things I've read today.
Very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
I was trying to figure out which one I should read first, but I think I'm going to read the first one first and the second one second. This is the one, because I know it's going to create a conversation no matter what on either story, but I'm just going to share it anyway. So, a bizarre twist that happened in June of this year. A truck driver had noticed something different with his trailer when he went to go check it out in Whiteland, Indiana, during a truck stop. He stopped, and he was just doing a routine check of his rig. And he realized that someone had tampered with the seal and the lock in the back of his 18-wheeler. Checking it, he went inside and found 350 pounds of cocaine with an estimated street value of $16 million. They say that the seizure is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in Indiana. The Whiteland Police Department responded around 5 p.m. on June 17th. Upon opening the trailer, they found the extra boxes mixed in with the driver's legitimate cargo. Nothing from the original load had been stolen, but the added contraband turned the truck into an unwitting vessel for what is believed to be one of the largest cocaine seizures in Indiana's history. Police Chief Derek Cox later described the haul as a major security concern for the small department, noting at a town council meeting that the drugs were temporarily stored in their facility. The cocaine has since been scheduled for destruction at a cost of about $2,000 to the apartment. Nearly 6 months later, investigators are still searching for the suspects responsible for loading the drugs. No arrests have been made, and the authorities are urging anyone with information to contact the Whiteland police. Again, this guy says that at a truck stop, in middle of the day, maybe closer to the evening, well, it's middle of the day, it's June, so the sun doesn't go down roughly about late 7 o'clock, close to 8 p.m., if not 9. It's literally summer. And in Indiana, someone loaded 350 pounds of cocaine into his rig. I don't know. I'm not falling for that. I'm just not. I'm not falling for it. And in another story, this one I don't know. Sometimes I get a little ticked off at stories that involve drones. Sometimes I am, because I always wonder, is that the thing that's keeping me from buying one? And I want one. This was a clever but foiled attempt at holiday smuggling. A drone laden with steak and crab legs targeted a South Carolina prison to help inmates enjoy a feast over the holiday season. It was intercepted by vigilant guards. The Lee Correctional Institution, a maximum security facility, became the site of this high-tech contraband drop just weeks before Christmas, blending modern gadgetry with old-age prison ingenuity. The package, intended for a covert celebration, highlights the evolving methods used to breach facility security, from simple tosses over the fences to airborne deliveries. No details emerged on the drone operator or the specific prisoners involved, but the incident underscores the persistent challenges in maintaining order under the correctional systems. The drone hovered over the prison yard, attempting to release its gourmet cargo under the cover of night or low visibility. Guards trained to spot such anomalies quickly detected and seized the device, preventing the luxurious meal from being reached or from its reached destination. The choice of high-end foods like steak and crab legs added a festive twist, suggesting a planned holiday indulgence amid the austere prison environment. Now, like I said, this kind of piques my interest in buying a drone, but I'm not going to lie. I think drones they're a little excessive now. Do you have any interest in these drones, Roland? You don't fly them at all? You have none? No, I'm a big, the only reason why I like them is because I like flying kites. Kites are fun. I don't know if anybody flies a kite out there, but if you have, at least if you used to be an enthusiast, I am one. So if you're looking for somebody to go kite flying with you, I'm your guy. I love them. I love getting them really, really high. I'll take the string that the standard operating string that they give you, and then I go to like a hardware store and get like a big ball and just attach it to the kite. Just get rid of the standard one and just put her up and then try to go as high as I possibly can. I can honestly say I've at least been helicopter length. That's how high I can go. Like good helicopter length. Not like low flying, boys in the hood searching for a criminal height. I mean, higher than that. But drones, I'm not going to lie, I really do. But I cannot justify the cost or the battery power. Well, when we went to the Waterbury Police Department and saw their drone system, and those drones were nice. I will tell you that, guys. I was really, really impressed. Especially they have they have like a high-tech sort of like nest for the drone at the top of the police precinct. And it folds open like that, like Lamborghini wings. It's like it opens and they could just lift it up. But I'll tell you this. Here's the crazy part. That high-powered, well-advanced, very advanced drone with a camera on it by the police only has a 30-minute battery life. 30 minutes. And this, actually, I'll give this one. This is cool. So you put the drone up, you use it, you fly it out. I don't know what the range is. I don't think I know what the range is. I think it's like 4 or 5 miles. It might be 4 or 5 miles. But here's the cool part. So you put the drone out, boom, fly it out there. You get over the suspect's home or the scene of the crime, whatever the case may be. So you're there for 20 minutes. Took you 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get there. Who cares? Blah, 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 blah. When the drone gets to a certain level of battery power, on its own, it travels back to the nest. Now, that's actually kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. That is probably. Now, they have another one that's an even bigger drone that I saw. Didn't have like any of the propellers on it, but they had one, and that one's got like an interchangeable camera that they can use. It's like really, really high tech. That one, that battery life is 50 minutes, so almost an hour. Every drone that I've ever seen, everybody tells me the battery life is like, I don't know, 20 minutes, I think at best. But I can't justify the price of them. And I love pawn shops, so I go to pawn shops and I go to say, it was like, hey, you have a drone? They're like, yeah. I was like, how much? They're like, $400. I'm like, no, thank you. I won't buy it. But they also have them at Best Buy and Walmart all the time. But I always say to myself, would I really buy a drone from Walmart? I don't know. Probably because I look at it. Okay, can I be honest? This is where I make a fool of myself. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because I'm sort of keeping something under wraps. So I really, really do like drones. But I only like looking at them and flying them. I'm not an enthusiast. You know how some people are enthusiasts? Like they can rattle off names and models, and all that, and range. And all. I don't care anything about that. I just want the drone. I don't want to know all the specs. How long does this fly? 20 minutes. Okay. How far does it go? About 100 feet. Okay. I'm not interested. I want a drone that goes like a real good drone for me is the length of a football field, 360 feet. And not that it goes really, really high, but for me, I probably want to put a camera on it. But that's about it. But I want to film while I'm on there. So
film what?
I don't know. Film the flying. Like I want to film myself flying it. The drone. I want to catch, aerial. People use it for for their television program, like to get scenic shots and filming short films and stuff like that. Like people use it for all those things. But I just want a drone to use. I don't want to know all the specs. I just want it to perform for what I need it for. And I know this is true. This is where it's going to suck. I know that I will only use that drone a couple of times. And then I'll put it in the box, and then I'll come back to it maybe a year later.
Yikes.
I know it's a half-assed interest, but I really want one. And this is one of those stupid things where I want one just because I want one. Not for any big reason. Not that I'm going to use it doing anything. I just want it. And just so I can have it sit there and look at it. It'll probably sit on my mantle, and I'll look at it. And time again, I'll go, when I'm really, really bored, I'll go, let me go outside with the drone. And then I'll go up there, I'll put it up in the air for a little while and go, yeah, I'm done. And put it down. It's just me.
Sad.
It is. They can go a half a mile with 30 minutes of battery, Jason tells me. Jason also says, I bought myself one for Christmas, a drone, a small one. On a side note, I used it to work and go fly a kite. Work at Go Fly a Kite. The company in East Haddam. I used to fly real kites with 2 strings and do stunts with it. Jason, what are you doing? You and I got to hang out. That's right up my alley. Now, I will admit this. I love kites more than I love drones. Because kites are just like, it's you and the elements. Like you are using the wind to get your kite up in the air. You've never flown a kite, it sounds like. You have no interest in this at all. No kites for you? You never flew one kite? Yeah, you. You don't even sound like you care. When was the last time you flew a kite? Like when
30 years ago.
Oh, goodness gracious. I fly kites all the time.
I did like it back in the day, but that's like when you get older, you don't want to fly kites anymore.
Really?
Yeah, you want to fly real stuff.
Like what? You like a drone?
Well,
or an airplane.
Before was those helicopters that you could fly.
Oh, yeah. I had one in fact, I lost one living in Manchester. The boy and I went to Best Buy. We bought one for like $150, and for some odd reason we were holding, and he dropped the remote control and broke the antenna while it was in flight, and it went straight down 84 towards Vernon.
Oh, wow.
You never saw it again. We had it for a half an hour. We had it for 30 minutes. The thing was up. We were right across from Wickham Park, and that son of a gun got up in the air, and he dropped the thing, and I tried to fix the antenna to get it to come back, and it started going east, and it never came back. And we just sat there and looked at it and just went, oh, well.
I wonder what happened to it.
I don't know. I wonder if it probably went somewhere in the woods. I don't even think it lasted that long. But, yeah, that's why I want to get another drone. I might get one if I see one at a pawn shop, which, by the way, if you know a good pawn shop, folks, you got to let me know. Today, you have to let me know because I love going to those places. Oh, forget it. That was the one I went to. That was the one we just got our TV from. We went to that one. That one's in Plainville? Yeah. Oh, really? Okay, that was the one I went to. We went to the what diner was that over there? Not the Metro. The Main Street Diner. Yeah, right off Main Street. We went to that pawn shop right around the corner. We went over there the other day. Oh, crap. We got to take a break. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We got economic numbers. We got news numbers. We got the Trump speech yesterday, and Jen Psaki caught in one of the biggest lies ever. Stand by. More news, more views. When we return, it's Reese on the radio.
WTIC News Talk 1080 is celebrating 100 years on the air.
And you better have our gift. It's Reese on the radio. We are live on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Linda Szyncowicz is in the building. We will talk to her in a little bit, so stand by because I got a lot of stuff to deal with that I promised that I would. It's housekeeping, it's news, it's views, and then we'll have our conversation with her from FightVoterFraud.org. So I've got a couple of people in the chat room. They are here. And thank you. Folks, you do not know this because I don't really reveal this. So I have 9, count them, 9 African-American listeners, just 9. And God bless them. God bless them. God bless those 9 who love to come onto the program on Thursday because they are always here for Negro Nonsense that we do every Thursday. And they show up here on time. Hamilton and Cicero, both of them show up at the program. And now they are upset about Donald Trump, and they do that. They show up here all day in basic fashion as they do, because they were taught by their white overlords that they must come on Reese on the Radio's program and do their bidding and complain about Donald Trump and something that he's done today. This time they're upset that Donald Trump has added plaques under former presidents' photos in the White House to trash their legacy. It's a level of trash that we have literally never seen in government before. Yeah, nobody's heard that quote before. It's the president has shown he is belittling of a sitting president how far our country has fallen. Oh, the country has fallen because a couple of plaques ended up on the wall. Oh, heaven to Betsy. Can you Negroes do me a favor and stop crying?
Are you crying? No. Are you crying? Are you crying?
Please stop boring me. Please stop boring me. Go home. Go home. Cut off the television. Go home. Go take a nap. I would suggest put your thumb in your mouth and get in a fetal position and cry. Seriously. This place is for big boys, not little girls. Please go home. Don't come in here whining. I told you this before. Don't come here whining. We're not listening to your whines. Okay? All right? What happened to the days of the hip-hop era where young black men were the toughest things in the world? I'm bad. I'm funky, fly, dope. What happened? You guys are now wearing skirts and screaming about a man putting plaques on walls. Please go elsewhere with this. You're embarrassing me in front of the white people. Today. Sissies. Anyway, it's like, and they're sitting up here talking about, I wonder how Reese is going to rationalize this nonsense. There's nothing to rationalize. I'm going to laugh at you. So while you're sitting up there stewing, because I know you are, that's okay. You'll be okay. You'll be mad about something else tomorrow. You don't have to be emotional. You have no choice but to be emotional. And I told you this before. Please stop coming in here with the emotion. Just stop it. I'm not interested. This is not how I communicate with grown men. You know, if I start having, like, I get women call up here and they can be like, well, Reese, you know, I think that some of the things that the president does may be a little off-putting. But I never hear those women cry. They're not screaming at me over the phone. But you guys are just like animated. And it's quite embarrassing to watch. It's just like, knock it off. Now, let's get to the reason why we're here. Okay? More news and more views than we can shake a stick at. Let's talk about it. Donald Trump gave a speech over the weekend. Yesterday. It was only about 19 minutes long. But even though he gave that speech yesterday, he was setting up something that was going to happen today. And that's because Donald Trump knew that the inflation numbers were going to be down. And the news media had to take notice.
I mean, I was surprised. It was a better number than anyone was expecting. Look, inflation's been very high. It's stayed high. It has not been coming down. But, you know, people were expecting it to be above 3%. It was well below 3%. I mean, I think the president will take this as good news. The investors will think that interest rates will get cut more. So, you know, it was a positive news. There's no other way to spin it.
Brand new numbers on inflation. You can see the annual rate of inflation down a little bit in November. It was at 3% the last time we got a reading. Now it has ticked down, cooling slightly to 2.7%.
Finally, some good news on the number one economic issue, the cost of living. So the government just put out this new report saying that consumer prices were up by 2.7% year over year in November. That is much better than the forecast from economists, which was for 3%. And as you mentioned, this is a step in the right direction.
The number of the morning, the CPI, maybe coming in a little bit better than expected. 2.7%, a little light year. I'm just reading the headlines here. Year over year, 2.7. Ex-food and energy core, 2.6. So
I love CNBC. They were just like, they were much better than expected. I love the fact that all of these people are waking up and going, I can't believe this. Do you remember Joe Kernan was just maybe 2 weeks ago, was on CNBC. He was talking about these. He was telling me, what are Democrats talking about?
The affordability issue is from the 22% increase in prices and inflation under Biden. There's just full stop right there. That's the affordability issue, and you ought to be able to explain that. That's right.
That's it. You have to be able to explain that. And Donald Trump is doing that with those numbers and with that 19-minute speech. He didn't bore everybody and hold them up for 45 minutes. 19 minutes in and out. And if you want to understand exactly how petty these people in the news media are, go no further than Jen Psaki, former White House spokesperson for Joe Biden, who now has her own show at MS Now, formerly MSNBC. This woman was the one who was in charge of telling you what the president's agenda was when she was the White House press secretary. Listen to what she said last night on her program and ask yourself, no wonder Trump has to have his own media outlet to people. Listen close.
Trump also claimed that he's brought gas prices down to $1.99 a gallon. The national average for a gallon of gasoline was $3.11 when Trump took office. The national average today per AAA is $2.91.
Now listen, again, make sure you hear her. And I love this because I tell people all the time, words count. What did Jen Psaki say?
Trump also claimed that he's brought gas prices down to $1.99 a gallon. The national average for a gallon of gasoline was $3.11 when Trump took office. The national average today per AAA is $2.91.
Now, did Trump say that he brought gas prices down to under $2? Yes, but only sort of. Here's what Donald Trump actually said.
On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99
in some states. And for all of you people who are in my chat room screaming about plaques,
In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon.
In some states. Let's go back to Jen Psaki.
Trump also claimed that he's brought gas prices down to $1.99 a gallon. The national average for a gallon of gasoline was $3.11 when Trump...
Remember, you trust Jen Psaki. That's why everything you say, as they say in the hood, full cap, straight cap. Oh, screw it. You're lying. This is why nobody trusts you. This is the reason why your whole party is in the crapper. It's the reason why. But wait. There's more. There's so much more. There's so much more. You guys have to win the midterms. And I told you, do not get ahead of yourself. Do not get ahead of your skis. I told you it is January. Okay? It's 11 months from the midterms. And politics is what have you done for me lately? And with everything that the Democrats have done to making seditious videos, to screaming about Coke boats being blown up, calling the president a rapist, everything under the sun and a felon, and even throwing Jasmine Crockett into a Senate race in Texas that she can't win. With all of that, you've been wondering why Harry Enton has been kind of silent over at CNN. Well, there's a reason. He was trying to avoid this.
How are voters feeling about Democrats right now?
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
The last time Harry Enton gave these numbers, Democrats sat at 29%. Ladies and gentlemen, after all of that, they sit at 18%. 18%. Donald Trump is at 39, they said. He's at 41, they said. He's at 35, they said. Democrats are at 18. Now, I didn't go to college, but from what I remember, the 30s are higher than the teens. I'm just saying, don't quote me. I don't want to give any mis or disinformation. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd say the Democrats need to work a little harder. Just me. You know, I'm no guru. I don't consider myself, one of those guys like what's his name? Nate Silver. I'm no Nate Silver. I'm not none of those guys. I'm not Rasmussen or Quinnipiac or any of those guys. I just go by what I know, and it doesn't seem good. It just doesn't. But Democrats, hey, what the hell? Maybe that's the reason why Cicero and Hamilton here are complaining about plaques on walls and then calling that, make sure I get this quote right, the country has fallen so far. Because of a plaque on the wall, the country is devastated. Donald Trump he's soiled the memory of the White House. Build a beautiful ballroom. It's the worst thing that ever happened to our country. Puts a plaque on the wall. The country is sunken so low. Killing coke dealers. Destroying coke boats. He's murdering people. Forget about the people who were killed in our own country. It's sad. It's sad. I don't know what's worse. Watching you people squeal about the nonsense. I don't know. I don't know what's worse. Watching you squeal about the nonsense or watching you lose. I don't know what's worse. Well, okay. Maybe watching you squeal is worse. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. If you got something to say, do it in the chat room. Maybe hang out with Cicero and Hamilton. They're looking for your response. They're at ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can, too. We'll be back.
It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should do it now or do it later when people are driving home. Because it's 3:53, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm going, I may not have enough time to. Yeah, you know what? We'll save it. I'll just save it. It's important to save it. I didn't hear anything back, unfortunately, from Cicero and Hamilton. They've appeared to have run away. They were upset earlier about Donald Trump putting a plaque underneath former presidents. Country has sunk so low. I've never seen so many people be so emotional about everything. It's scary. I was like, aren't you guys still reeling about the tweet about Rob Reiner? Like, stay focused, darn it. You should still be angry about the Rob Reiner post. And then once you're over that, move on to the plaques. They're going to be there tomorrow. Just have 1 week to be outraged about Rob Reiner, right? And then get to me next week about the plaques. Okay? Are you still upset about the new ballroom? How about that? Wait a minute. Is it the Coke boats? Like, which one is the one that's outraging you the most? Like, which one is making us the laughing stock of the country again? Right? Like, which is the thing that Donald Trump is doing that's making you so angry that we look so horrible to the people of Timbuktu? Right? Please explain it to me. Tell me the thing that Donald Trump's doing that was embarrassing to us, that wasn't embarrassing when Old Man River was walking through every place under the sun and falling asleep. Huh? Those things that you weren't embarrassed about as he meandered off, walking off in different distances, going, hey guys, huh? When he was screaming at the sun, huh? Get off my lawn! What? They're visitors? Huh? What? Did you think that we were laughing stocks then? When he was shaking the hands of invisible people, giving shout-outs to people who had died in 1997, why weren't we an embarrassment to the world then? Why weren't we? The guy puts a plaque on the wall and now we're an embarrassment? Really? And you don't think we're going to call you on this stuff? You don't think that we remember? See, here's the problem. You have such a short attention span, which of course is displayed in the fact that every minute you're outraged by something new. You can't remember just a year ago you had a buffoon, an actually waddling, diaper-wearing buffoon, sitting in the Oval Office, and you said nothing. You ran interference for that knucklehead. Okay? And everything it is he did for 4 years, you ran opposition to the rest of us. Huh? You did everything you could to promote him and the dum-dum he made the vice president as well. Yes, you remember. You remember. Children of the community are children of the community. Yes. That was the brilliance you were backing. So please, don't come at me with this stupid nonsense about a plaque on a wall. You look silly, and that's why I'm mocking you. So you understand, I'm making fun of you because you are silly. So you can get mad, and you can get your feelings hurt. I'm doing that on purpose because it appears that it's easy to do. So all you have to do is reveal where your Achilles heel is, be it over your heart or even on your heel, hence the name. I will expose it, and I will jam my knife into it because I don't care. I want you to cry. Dare I say I get off on it. So cry. Boo-hoo. Whine. Just put your thumb in your mouth. Get in a fetal position. Put on a lullaby.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm sorry, those kids are still crying. Anyway, we're back. It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Roland, you and I are being asked about the mashed potato bar at the Christmas party. Any insight? Let me tell you real quick, Larry. It wasn't what we thought it would be. It was just a bar that it was like any other buffet with a lot of clothes. They had a lot of food. They had chicken parm. They had another kind of parm. And then they had a big giant vat of mashed potatoes with the skins, I might add, that I did enjoy. But by the time I got there, it wasn't as hot as usual. But Roland said, what do I care? I don't eat anything hot. I usually eat cold food. He's right. I usually don't eat anything hot. It's time. Yeah, I got time. And congratulations to Larry S. in Marlboro. Marlboro, spelled with a G-H, not like the cigarettes. Marlboro. Larry S. is the winner today of the dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. If you'd like to win, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. Fill out the form, put in your birthday, put in your telephone number, and you must live in the state of Connecticut. You cannot have won within the last 6 months, starting today. And also we'll be at the Between Rounds, one of the 3 locations. I don't think it's going to be in South Windsor. I think it's going to be in Vernon. I have strong feelings that it's going to be in Vernon. At least that's the rumor. But we'll let you know. It's going to be happening in the middle of January, like right in the middle. And we'll be there. So maybe you can come out, have a bagel, maybe a smoothie. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he is in the BPS Traffic Center. When we get back, we'll talk to Linda Szyncowicz. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, folks, we are finally getting into it. Our guest today is Linda Szyncowicz, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
And so you're an old radio vet, so you know how this goes. So I don't have to worry about that. So when the clock reaches roughly about 27 is when we're going to start going out. So if you see that clock ahead of me, you'll know it, because we have a very deep conversation to get into today. Linda Szyncowicz is the founder and CEO of FightVoterFraud.org, and it's Fight Voter Fraud, but her website is FightVoterFraud.org. And your mission is to not just clean out the voter rolls, but to get our elections up to snuff, because they are a mess, not just here in Connecticut, but everywhere in the country.
They are an absolute disaster. And a lot of the information that's coming out now that you're hearing about, like from Wisconsin, you know, and Michigan, Nevada. Yeah. It's all stuff we've known about for a while, but nobody would do anything about it for the last 4 years.
Yeah, dispel some of the nonsense we always get from, especially the news media, that it's just dribs and drabs. It's not, it's not like the most alarming number of voter fraud cases ever. That's not really the case, is it?
It's a multitude of different things that have gone on. So we don't get into the machines.
Right.
But I can say, yes, absolute manipulation with the machines and the numbers. You know, look up Marley Hornick out of New York. She's the one who is suing Letitia James, the AG in New York, as well as the New York elections.
Right.
I was just taping a show today with Andy Thompson in Nevada, and they destroyed evidence that the court had even told the Secretary of State that they could not destroy, and they destroyed it. And they're basically saying, so you don't have the evidence, you can't come after us. It's like, it doesn't work that way.
You have an interesting take in all of this, and what you and your team does is you guys use the autopsy in a way that is beneficial not just to people who are running for office, but it's also to find out where the fraud is. Like, because some of the numbers that you've laid out to me just in our brief conversations is like knowing the most ridiculous stuff that's going on with registrars, just voting rolls altogether. If I may, because we're going to get into so much stuff, and I'm going to keep you here for a bit. You told me this one story. I thought it was the most fascinating of all of your stories, is as it pertains to the voter rolls, and we'll get a little deeper into that, I hope, today, was that there was an old man who his wife was on the voter rolls, and his wife had died some time before. And it had been found out that his wife was still on the voter rolls, and they wanted her removed because she no longer needed to be there. She had passed on. And I think the argument to keep his wife on there, do you remember? Do you remember the story telling me?
There was a death certificate presented.
Right.
And because both registrars have to agree. We have a Republican and a Democrat. In order for someone to be removed, they both have to agree.
Right.
The easiest ones to agree on, which is an immediate removal, is once you prove someone is dead.
Right.
And what is more provable
than a death certificate? Right.
And one of the registrars refused to remove the woman, even though she had passed, because when her husband goes in to vote, he'll get upset if he doesn't see her name. I had another one I think I told you about.
Yeah.
One of them, she refused to remove any deceased voters because she didn't want to disenfranchise anybody. They're dead.
These excuses are absolutely outlandish.
And in 2020, just so people know, here in Connecticut, there was 7,742 deceased voters that were still active on Connecticut voter rolls, and 542 of them voted, and some even voted in person. So what we did is we did the deep dive to prove that they were the people that had passed away. There's a whole big thing that we do with that. And we spent 2 years sending the information, certified mail, return receipt, in the binders, page protectors, listing out detailed information with all the evidence, asking registrars to please double-check our work and remove them from the voter rolls. And we had spent well over $50,000 doing that. And after 2 years, I was just like, this is ridiculous. They're still not removing them. But we did have other registrars. I got to tell you, there are some towns that were wonderful. They thanked me because they never would have found these people. Because at that time, they were not getting any of the information from the Social Security Death Index from the state of Connecticut or from the Secretary of State's office.
Linda, let me ask you this, because you said that there were over 7,000 dead people on the voter rolls. You said there was about 500 who actually voted, many of them in person. Now, the person who's always pushing back on you, the news media, even some people listening on this program will go, well, there was only 500 out of that 7,000. What big deal does that make? Tell me why.
It's a big deal. In 2018, there were 22 races in Connecticut determined by less than 100 votes. Some were determined by 2 and 3 votes. And if you're in a town where you had, 6 people who were deceased that were voting, or people that had moved away that were voting.
That's another big deal.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, when people talk about, well, we need to audit the ballots.
Right.
Are you kidding me? That is the biggest waste of time and wasted money anybody could ever use.
What do they mean when they say audit them?
Which means from the numbers that were put in on the machine,
right.
written down, we're going to count to make sure.
So it's just a numbering thing, numeration thing.
Right, but look at it this way. If you have fraudulent votes, you're recounting the fraudulent votes.
That's right. Okay, so you believe that there's got to be, since once, and people who don't understand this, getting rid of the people who have passed away or have moved, most importantly, off the voter rolls, then you don't have the people that fraudsters can use to double dip, so to speak, right? You don't have those folks.
Right, because it's public information. So here's the law. If someone doesn't vote in 2 consecutive federal elections, that's 4 years, because it's every 2 years, they are supposed to be canvassed by your registrars, which means a phone call, a postcard, a letter, and it has to be done between January 1st and May 1st.
That's enough time.
And if it comes back undeliverable, then they're supposed to put them on the inactive list for 4 years. And then after that, they are moved to the off list for 1 year. So
before you get any further, so let's say the person doesn't respond to the postcard or the phone call and they get put on the inactive list and the next election comes up and the person goes to vote. What happens?
They can still
vote. Okay, all right.
But they don't vote at the polling station.
Okay.
All they have to do is go to the town hall, show proof that it is them, and it's one little button. That gets pressed by the registrar, and ta-da, you're back on.
Okay.
So you're not being disenfranchised.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, my God, they took me off and put me on inactive. No, it doesn't work that way. And, yes, I apparently I do use my hands a lot.
I was wondering if you would. No, but, because we have the camera right next to you. But, you're very passionate. Yes. That's the reason why I use my hands when I talk, so I ask everybody. So the reason I didn't want to cut you off, but it was very important to get to that point because that's kind of the argument about disenfranchisement is that when they're put on the inactive list, many people who are fighting for voter registration or fighting against voter registration make that argument that that's a form of disenfranchisement because they go on inactive. And that's nonsense.
Right. And the other thing is that it's more difficult for certain groups of people to be able to show an ID. I'll tell you, there was a segment from Senator Wesley Hunt from Texas.
Yeah, know him well.
I love him. He even was going through his identification that he has on him right now.
Wow.
Everyone has some sort of identification.
Sure.
It is not difficult. And I believe we should have access for people who don't have a driver's license to be able to get a state ID for free, just for voting, just to show
Well, it's true because
who they are.
we have a bunch of programs for people. I mean, I just read a story today that we're forgiving medical charges that they cannot pay. The state is going to pay them off to the tune of, well, if they're winding it down, but the bill is like $198 million. They're going to pay pennies on the dollar. Turns out they're only spending about $6 to $7 million to pay off $198 million. We can't find some of that money to give people who don't have state IDs. Yeah. We can house people in the state and do anything else for that matter. Sure, get them a driver's license or get them a state ID, which is, by the way, how much is that here in Connecticut? $50?
I'm not sure of the cost, but I would actually opt toward people who would have difficulties financially.
Give it to them for free.
Give it to them for free.
Right.
I mean, everyone should vote. Anyone who is 18 years old, of sound mind, and is a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
Not an illegal. And by the way, they are not undocumented. That makes me crazy. The moment you step foot in the United States, not the legal way, you are illegal. And back in, I believe it was 1887, they put in that within 30 days of your being here, you had to register that you were here, and it was considered a felony. So
Wow.
this isn't a brand new thing. My great-grandparents came over to Ellis Island, and they had jobs set up, et cetera, et cetera. You're not supposed to come to the United States and freeload off of us.
Poland, by the way?
Yeah.
But,
No,
okay.
no.
No, not Poland?
I'm German.
Really?
That's my husband's last name.
Oh, how would I know? I didn't know you were married. My apologies, Linda.
Yeah.
Well, okay, your husband's Polish.
You think nobody would marry me?
No, I didn't say. Goodness gracious. Okay, never mind about it.
We're not gonna
out of that hole. So you guys over at Fight Voter Fraud, your objective is to go through everything there is to know about who is registered to vote, make sure that they are legally allowed to vote within the state. You guys go through all of the numbers. You do all of the autopsies. You don't just go over the dead people who are on the voters' rolls who have moved out of the state. Talk to me a little bit, if you could, since we were on illegals. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. Unfortunately, it is very easy to register anybody here in the state of Connecticut. I know people go, well, I had to show my ID. No, there's some nefarious people. And it's not just registrar of voters should be the only ones registering people to vote.
Okay.
You have the Department of Motor Vehicles that is registering for people to vote.
Like at the booth?
At getting your driver's license. If you have a green card, you can get a driver's license to drive here.
Right, sure.
But when they're filling out the form, they're being told to check the boxes. And as Dominic Rapini says, you're one check box away from a felony because there's one box that says, are you a U.S. citizen? So back a few years ago, I think it was something like 80,000 people had their voter registration changed. I mean, it was mostly targeting Republicans, were changed to independent or unaffiliated. We had a woman in town who was running for planning and zoning, had been chair of planning and zoning, and she moved to the other side of town, and the registrar said, well, why did you change to a Democrat? You can't do that. You're running as a Republican. And she goes, I didn't. It was motor vehicle. But now it's not just motor vehicle. You have AAA that does it.
What?
You have state agencies.
Like?
I can't even think of the different ones off the
Could
top.
it be like
human resources?
Oh, human resources, or
human resources,
could it be social services?
Social services.
Right.
And again, I remember Dominic Rapini when we were testifying against a bill. He said, "Why don't you have the sanitation department too? Because it's not their job either."
So wait a minute. So AAA can actually register you to vote?
Yes. Yeah. When you're getting your license, and that is part of the NVRA, the National Voter Registration Act from 1994.
Sure, voter rolls, right? Motor voter.
Right. And they really need to dismantle that.
Right.
They really need to pull it away from the motor vehicle department because it's a disaster.
Yeah, that's
an absolute disaster.
That seems like the worst place to do it because if I'm really thinking about this, and you were talking about being illegals, and then the Department of Motor Vehicle, you're filling out that form, and that one box away from committing a felony, once that person gets that driver's license, the term undocumented ceases to exist. Because on that form, once he clicks, or checks off U.S. citizen, and he has a driver's license, he is in essence, a valid citizen of the United States.
Right.
Nothing is keeping him from voting.
That's right.
Even though he should legally not be allowed to.
Even though those licenses are supposed to be coded, I have spoken to a number of people who are notaries who have found people showing licenses that don't have the special code on them, that they have a green card. It shows they're a U.S. citizen. I mean, it's a mess. And as far as cleaning the voter rolls, there's a lot of human error.
Sure.
Anytime anybody looks at the voter rolls, you see 1/1900 for a birthday. When the information was put in, somebody didn't bother putting in the birthday.
Right.
So it automatically defaulted to that. The registration, it defaults to 1/1800. Again, it's an input problem.
Right.
And all this stuff is supposed to be accurate. So anyway, we do analysis. We did an analysis in 2023, October, of people who have been canvassed, which we talked about earlier,
right,
who should be on the inactive list, the ones who should be on the off list, et cetera. And it was about 169,000 people in Connecticut at that time that should not have been on the voter rolls or should have been moved to inactive or off. We redid it again, and this is after we sent every single one. We know exactly who the people are. We sent it to the Registrar of Voters and to the Secretary of State and a whole bunch of other people. We redid it in 2024, and it went up, I believe, to 219,000.
Holy moly.
I mean, yeah.
Stay right there. We've got more stuff to get into. Linda Szyncowicz is here. She is from fightvoterfraud.org. We got the 15-point plan and so much more, so stick around for that. Let's get to Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're live. We're here with Linda Szyncowicz of fightvoterfraud.org. This is only a short break because we go up to like 37, and then we're going to do traffic and weather again. But since you're here, I want to take advantage of all of the time that you're here, because I'm going to try to keep you here at least an hour or so. We were talking behind the scenes about, like, we have got to normalize the fact that our voting system is messed up. We have got to get off this thing where we are shy about saying that voter fraud is happening and let everyone else preach the narrative to us that it's only drips and drabs or it's no meaningful or significant way that voter fraud is taking place. And one of the things we know is happening with illegals in this country, especially taking part in voting. We, of course, know about dead people and, of course, about ballot harvesting and all that other stuff. What's another one that we should pay attention to?
Well, like I said, there's just so many different ways,
right?
And it's not just the nefarious people,
right?
I mean, and that's
the usual actors.
The usual actors. It could be that, well, grandma was, voting. She got her absentee ballot automatic. She was on the permanent list. Oh, she would have wanted to vote this way.
You told me that story, too. I thought that was amazing.
Like, okay. And then the landlords that get paid. I mean, there's a price. There is a value to the ballots.
Wait a minute. If you can you tell me in a minute, what's the landlord angle? I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
They get kickbacks by accepting absentee ballot request forms for people who don't exist. And yeah.
Oh, that's how we get the 100 people at one address, or in some cases thousands at one address.
Yeah, so they get a vig from that. A just a vote.
I can't believe you just said the word vig. You just took me back to the Shylock days. I take a vig. Anyway, so yeah, is it substantial? I think what some people get like $100 a ballot,
well,
right?
The illegals this past November wanted more than $100.
Really?
And that was brought forward actually by a Democrat, and she sent her tape to every legislator in Connecticut, and nobody did anything. And it was one of the legislators sent it to me and said, Linda, could you do something with this? And I'm like, my God, she's admitting, that it's the illegals. But just so you know, it's not the illegal people themselves, it's the cartels.
Right, of course.
Because the cartels that are in Hartford and all over it's
So even awful. The cartels, so again, this is, and again, you are blowing my mind a little bit here. Because you were telling me, if I'm hearing you correctly, and there is evidence to support this, that even drug cartels that are doing everything else under the sun that is nefarious are now even taking parts in voter fraud in our state.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anywhere there's money. And then you have the normal, everyday nefarious people down in Bridgeport. I mean, Bridgeport, from what I've heard, those ballots are only like $15 and maybe some food.
Yes, I do know about the homeless and the food thing. Oh, that's it. We'll get into a little bit of that, too. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Well, we're going to be here for a bit. We got weather and traffic coming up. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. You hear some of this stuff, Mark?
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080, WTIC.
Every guest that I have here, when they hear that, they all chuckle. It's our little way of sort of jabbing a couple of people in town. Linda Szyncowicz from FightVoterFraud.org is here. They are working a campaign here. It's not just here in Connecticut. You're working the country.
Yes.
In your small little office with your staff, spending what is it, millions yet?
No, not millions.
Not millions. Not there yet. Okay.
Not there yet.
Well, you could use some funding.
We could absolutely use additional funding because of what we're doing. We're helping a lot of other organizations across the country.
Yeah.
We literally are in all 50 states. We have different projects going on.
Right.
Right now, we're trying to train people how to do what we've been doing,
right,
which are the deep dives, because you actually have to prove, the double voters and the information. I've been fortunate enough, and all I can talk about is that I've been down to D.C. a number of times.
Right.
And we're making a lot of headway with a number of different things. And I'm involved with a couple of organizations that are just phenomenal, and people. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Marley Hornick in New York, she is incredible. So she's with realamerica.vote. And then you've got Greg Stenstrom out of Pennsylvania. 4 years he's been fighting. He's in their Supreme Court and everything else, and he's doing it pro se. And we know all the problems that are in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely, because we know about that whole, what was it, Long Island, traveling all the way down.
That's
nothing. Wow, really?
Nothing.
That was huge. That was a huge scandal.
Yeah, that's
but it's nothing compared to what they're doing now.
What's going on. Another surprising state is Hawaii.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me when we spoke before.
Ralph Kushney from Hawaii, he is an election official, had reached out to us in November of 2024 for some stuff that was going on. And I would actually crank them up to probably one of the worst in the country.
Really?
Hawaii and Kauai and ballots coming in where they weren't even checked through the post office or even checked in, and it's just crazy stuff. And he has been fighting it, and he's actually made incredible headway.
I'm going to keep you on for one more break. We've got some time in this one, but I got to keep you in for one more because there's so much stuff I need to get into. So I want to go for, what a lot of people in this state would consider the red meat. And this is the obvious one. Okay. I'm sorry I got to rehash it. And I know my bosses who are listening are probably going to say, why are we going here, Reese? Because I'm going here. Let's talk about 2020. Okay. And if I could, I want you to lay out. I want to lay out the way that I see this in a simple way, because that's the way I present this to my audience. Okay. I'm looking at a country that said to itself, if I'm to believe the people who matter or who know everything, that 2020 was an existential threat about to happen if Donald Trump wins. And whatever we do, we have to ensure that he does not win re-election and that we elect Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden, who I know because I follow elections and I've followed them since I was 10 years old, a man who couldn't get 19,000 votes in a primary in 2008. He has tried several times and then failed miserably several times. He has always been an also-ran or a runner-up, and in some cases, not even that. This guy gets 81 million votes, more than his predecessor, his boss, Barack Obama, the Messiah, who beat handedly a guy who is a staple in the United States in Congress as a senator, John McCain. I understand that Joe Biden has never been the kind of guy. I mean, we're talking about a guy who says some of the most bigoted and racial and divisive things ever. He's got a track record of being an absolute reprobate. He gets 81 million votes. Lay it out for me. How much fraud are we talking here? 6 million, 7 million, 8 million votes?
Keep going.
You think it's double digits?
Oh, it's more than double digits. I am not, like I said, I'm not talking, conspiracy theories.
Okay.
The information that I have and that I've seen and cumulative, a lot of different things going on. So you have the local and the nefarious stuff that goes on. The machines themselves.
Okay.
Absolutely have issues, serious issues.
Yeah, PBS did a story about Dominion during the, I think it was an April campaign.
But it's,
sorry, I apologize. A Georgia campaign during an election. There were some problems with the Dominion, they did a full report about.
So I'm going to quickly bring up Marley's work, and then I'm going to go international to tell you who's involved with this.
Okay.
So Marley Hornick's work is where they looked at the New York State for 2024.
Okay.
That's the one we're proving with her right now, is that once a vote is cast, it's supposed to stay where it is in the system because you went for Johnny Smith.
Right.
Okay. It's not supposed to have any movement. What they were doing, we're able to see every hour they were downloading the stuff with permission, obviously, from the New York elections. Guess how many manipulations were done in just a few hours?
I couldn't.
Over 1 million.
On one vote?
On people's votes coming in?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, they're checking the votes. So Johnny Smith, his vote is here. And all of a sudden, an hour later, his vote is on the opposite side. They have 100% proof that was also investigated by this research group in a double-blind study who said, absolutely, the manipulation is there. You can see it. And she did this on a number of states, too.
Help me with the manipulation part, because I think that is a lot of argument that people have made, and those who know this talk about it a lot, is that these computers are not attached to any internet. Wow, you rolled your eyes. I wasn't even thinking you'd roll your eyes. But they said they're not connected to anything, no internet. They are stationary and no what. Talk to me. Is that bogus?
I've got some swampland in Florida for you.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying that manipulation is happening off-site, which
it's happening in a number of ways.
Okay, please.
The way this stuff was programmed to internally in some of the machines, depending upon the states that you're in. But the big thing is, do not think that this is just in the United States. China, Venezuela, and one of the Arabian countries, I'm not 100% sure. I want to say the name, but I want to be accurate.
Okay, sure.
Their servers and how they can scramble everything. So this has been going on for maybe 20 years.
Okay.
And in 2016, it was thwarted with some of the manipulation, which is why everyone thought Hillary was going to win.
Right.
And nope, they couldn't do what they wanted to do. It was more of a test run.
Okay.
So in 2020, they did know what was going on. And it was opted not to interfere because they thought that Trump would have more than enough votes that, any manipulation.
Yeah, right. They weren't really concerned about a Joe Biden candidacy.
You know what happened
in
in 2024?
Please.
those particular servers in that foreign country somehow for 3 days lost all power.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. They were shut down the day before, the day of, and the day after. And the people who have done all this research, and it's well known internally, one of the people, he doesn't have death threats.
Okay.
He's got a bounty on his head.
Really?
He has to be in hiding along with the other person who's worked with him. I was privy to this information January 21st. I saw the 2.5 hours of all the evidence of stuff. And there was only one thing they asked us not to take a picture of, and that was the email from Obama to Venezuela. So I didn't take that picture. I know what it said. And believe it or not, when I left, I decided I don't want any of these photos on my camera.
Well, why would you?
I mean, I was just like with that information. But anyway, it is so much bigger than anybody realizes. But what we are trying to do at Fight Voter Fraud is on the local level.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, but I had to. I'm sorry, because it's the elephant in the room. Because if I'm bringing you to talking about voter fraud, everyone is like saying, "Tell me about 2020." It's red meat. I get it, but I wanted to get that out there. Please talk to me about the local stuff because you're working really, really hard to get that. And yesterday, during one of my monologues during the show, I was talking about Lamont in the last election before 2022. Before that. What was that, 2018? In that election, he spent about $15 to $18 million on his campaign. A lot of it was self-funded. I think it was $15 million self-funded. This time around, he was in the 20s. All right? He's self-funded. And I made the argument, hey, if this is a solid blue state and it's a cakewalk for all Democrats, why would he spend almost $10 million more on a state that, in essence, he should cakewalk?
Right.
What's your answer to that? Because I was making that case yesterday.
They're always throwing money into all of this because don't think that people don't get paid. I mean, the hands are out everywhere with all of this. The difficulty is proving it. And even when you prove the malicious behavior, look at Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to jail. 2 years suspended sentence, 3 years suspended sentence. It's the integrity of our elections. So here's a few things. If you want to help, and actually have fair elections. You know who bought a house on your street. You know who moved. You know who died. Check to see if they're on the voter rolls.
And you can.
And you can. And you can challenge them with your registrar of voters saying, listen, this person's been dead or this person moved. And what I don't understand is when somebody buys a house or somebody moves, why isn't that information brought to the registrar of voters?
That's a good point.
Why? I mean,
and whose responsibility should that be, though? When let's say I move. I'll admit, when I moved from Texas back here, in my head, I totally forgot that I brought a trailer that I have registered in Virginia, and I got a tax bill for it, even though I don't live there, and the trailer's in Texas. I totally forgot, so I have to pay the bill because I have no proof that I moved at the time, so I have to pay that bill because, again, those types of things slip your mind.
Well, see, it's our responsibility as a voter, because you should know that.
Right. And I registered to vote when I went to Texas.
And don't you love when people drive back from Massachusetts to Old Saybrook, Connecticut to vote because that's where they were registered?
Sure enough.
And you think that they don't know that that's illegal? I mean, because you're supposed to be representing your community.
Right.
That's why everyone needs to vote that is an eligible voter.
Yeah, no more 19% of the electorate showing up. You got to really, really get out there.
Or when you have, 116% of the voters voted. I mean, and there's no voter fraud. That was 2016, by the way, here in Connecticut.
116% of the voters voted out of 100.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, when Middletown went down to 96% in 2018 or 2020, we should be at about 68% is a good percentage based on our population is equivalent to Kentucky. So our numbers are totally skewed to begin with. So you yourself could just check those little things, just have a couple of your friends just check, And even ask your neighbors, who do you have in your house? Are they on the voter rolls? Because you want people to register if
Right.
they're eligible.
That's right.
But if they're not, you don't want mom filling out an absentee ballot for Johnny, who just went away to the University of Virginia,
Right.
which in the meantime, he just registered to vote in Virginia
Right.
and now has voted twice.
Right.
So the little things like that. The big things that really get me are in the convalescent homes, the Alzheimer locations, dementia locations, rehab centers. You have people filling out ballots for people that they shouldn't, that are mentally. I mean, we had a story one time of someone whose mother was in a coma.
Yeah. I told that story here on the air.
And it's just like, she'll point, whatever. So with all these things that I've seen, I actually came up with 15 laws that we need to put into effect immediately.
Yeah. And when we come back in the next half hour, we're going to talk about every one of those. We've got that whole list here. And you've given these to Stephanie, what's her name, Miller?
Stephanie Thomas, the Secretary of State.
Stephanie Thomas. That's
met
her
with
name.
her in person on December 2nd.
Yeah, you did meet with her, and you gave her this list.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. And I want to go over this 15-point list that will help you. I had a question here, Tara. If I could, let me take this minute because I want to read Tara, who is so engaged in this conversation. She wrote so much here. And I want to get this. One, she said earlier, when my son got his license at Cheshire, the DMV, the state employee didn't like that he registered as a Republican. Mm-hmm. Tara says that she checked his political party several times to make sure that he never became a Democrat. She also says when my son got his license to vote, that was the same thing. And then she writes, what if you have a registrar that is a problem? We have reported one of our registrars to Stephanie Thomas, and she didn't see it as an issue. What should one person do? We can answer that on the other side?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Tara, stand by. We will get that answer for you as well. Dr. Steve says, I call BS. I know this woman is a fraud. She knows she's a fraud. I know her type. You know what? I'm going to get into that because people have called you that.
Yeah.
They've gone after you. We'll address that. Calm down, Dr. Steve. We'll get to all of that. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, Linda Szyncowicz is still with us from FightVoterFraud.org. But it's 5 o'clock, so we got to do it. It's Hollywood News with your correspondent, Reese on the radio. All the glitz and all the glamour. It's Hollywood News. Roland?
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Yes, it's not complete without his little da-da-da. Anyway, in Hollywood News today, folks, you may have heard earlier during the show there were some listeners who were crying about Donald Trump putting a couple of plaques underneath his predecessors. Yes, they were crying about that. Well, for those people, Cicero and what was the other guy's name? I forget. Get ready to put your thumbs in your mouth. The John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. is set to undergo its first name change since 1971, following a unanimous vote by the Board of Trustees to honor President Donald Trump alongside President John F. Kennedy. On December 18th, 2025, the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt announced the decision, stating that the board had voted to rename the venue the Trump Kennedy Center. Oh goodness. Oh no. There wasn't a dry eye anywhere to be found. They were all upset. Listen to them.
Are you crying? No. Are you crying? Are you crying?
Yes, they are crying. That should upset them. I don't make the rules, folks. I don't. But This is fantastic Hollywood news. That and the Oscars going to YouTube because they can't maintain a rating over at ABC. Woo! That place is hemorrhaging. Let's get another check of weather and traffic at the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Linda and I are developing a wonderful relationship here behind the scenes. And you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have to wait that long to get you back. We'll get you back here as soon as possible because we have to talk about so much of this other stuff. That's right. I have to have you back in January after the video drops, right? Because we have a video that sort of it's
more of a training.
Right. It's a training. Does it have some of this stuff in it that we're talking about here? These 15.
It covers a few.
It covers a few? Okay, well, let's cover about these. These are observations and solutions for election integrity and accurate voter rolls for Connecticut. And these are the issues are 1 through 15 of them as they break down. Let's go to number 1.
Well, and we should tell people ahead of time that I point out the issues,
right?
But I also offer solutions.
Yes, that is correct in this. And will people be able to get this or read this themselves?
Yeah, it's already on my website.
Okay, so go to fightvoterfraud.org and you can read these yourself. It's important for you to read them.
It's under Vote Notes, which is part of my TV show.
Okay.
Where we have stories that have additional information. So you're going to go down, you'll see Vote Notes, and just look for that title we just talked about.
Right. So
I did it on my show, I think a week ago.
Okay. So issue number 1. Each city, town compensates registrars differently based on the size of the town and the amount of money in its budget. Some pay a lump sum monthly with no set hours. Others pay hourly with restrictions on the total number of hours per week or month. There are even some towns that pay registrars even if they don't go to town hall for extended periods of time because they work another job, leaving the work to the other registrars. Some registrars have not gotten a raise in years. The result of the minimum pay affects the public's ability to visit the registrar's office. So in essence, you don't know when the registrar's going to be there, so you get there and no one's there.
Well, they usually have a sign, like one of them is like only between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. every other Tuesday.
Right. Your solution to this is a law must be passed by the legislature to establish a standardized pay rate, a competitive wage for all registrars in Connecticut rather than leaving the cost to each city or town. This will provide a more robust field for candidates willing to step forward and perform the duties of that role.
Right. So currently, in order to become a registrar of voters, it's usually the Democratic Town Committee that chooses their person and the Republicans, because you need a Republican and a Democrat. All they need is one vote. They're put on the ballot. They're going to be in that place. So they are already the ones being brought forward. But if you have a job that is paying only, $15 an hour, 6 hours a week, you're not going to get somebody who would actually be doing the work that needs to be done.
Right.
And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And when they pass the law having, I don't even know how many days of early voting, which is absolutely ridiculous, they have to the registrars have to be there.
Yeah. This is an important job that's getting paid like, coffee
Peanuts.
maker.
Right. And it depends on the town. So if you have some of the smaller towns, they don't have the personnel. And back a few years ago, we did a study, and nothing against ages, but the ages of registrars in Connecticut were in the upper 60s, lower 70s out of the 368 registrars here in Connecticut. And we even had some in the 80s and 90s. Not that they can't do their job, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So a lot of the stuff isn't getting done. They're not getting certified, and it's something where, contrary to what people think, that, oh, God, I hate registrars because they don't do their job. I mean, a lot of them are wonderful. They do the best they can. But we need people who are dedicated to getting the job done and being paid a competitive wage.
Yeah, a competitive wage.
That's kind of common sense. But the budgets in the towns are not going to suffice.
Right.
So this is why I reached out to Stephanie Thomas, our Secretary of State, and I met with her on December 2nd. And these 15 points, yes, she does have. And let's say we do have a lot of common ground.
Right.
We agree.
How many did she disagree with?
Let's just say she agreed with about 90%.
Good.
And I didn't bring my big guns for this 15. I mean, I knew we're not going to.
You went very basic on the bare essentials, right?
Right.
Okay.
And she agreed with a lot of the stuff. And, she said, well, the bigger towns should get more money. And I said, no. There should be a flat rate where they start because you have a Democrat and a Republican. And Bridgeport, which was an example, they have a whole bunch of assistants and other people. We need to look at the specifics of the election officials and treat them as the elected officials and the pay that they deserve.
Yeah, because if they get paid more, they can do the jobs that we're requiring them to do, such as getting rid of the people who don't belong on the voter rolls and not treating it like a secondary job that they have to do, or that we want them to do the job and enjoy doing the job and at least be well compensated for it. Can we address Tara's question about how do you deal with a registrar who may be I guess the way she's putting it here, she says we have reported one of the registrars. She doesn't say what the problem was, but she said that Stephanie Thomas did not see them as an issue.
Okay, so I think I had it in here on how to deal with there are a lot of issues with registrar of voters.
Okay.
There is a lot of hostile work environments because I get phone calls from registrars. They're working in sometimes a very small office.
Right.
They have to agree on, the workload and what they're doing. So if you're not getting anywhere, the first thing I tell people is document. Be very specific on what the issues are. And with that, I would then file the complaint with the state election enforcement.
Okay.
You can even call ahead of time, speak to, I guess, Attorney Will Smith. Give him an idea because you don't want
to.
We
have an attorney, Will Smith?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And contrary to what people have heard, that I've had thousands and thousands of complaints that I filed with the SEEC, the State Election Enforcement, I got to tell you, I hadn't filed a complaint in 4 years until this past May 22nd. And the reason for that was 4 years ago, I made a mistake. On the 56 felons that voted that weren't supposed to vote, I mixed up probation and parole.
Okay.
I was only right on 21 of them.
Right.
And
this is the one you got guff for.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you got like a whole bunch of guff for it. But you admit the mistake, but I think they tried to use that to delegitimize.
Right, like I didn't know what I was doing. Listen,
right.
And not only with that mistake, every time I've met with like the FBI in North Carolina and Maryland, the first thing that I would say when I'm bringing the evidence to them was 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, I made a mistake. This is what happened. And they'll go, oh, yeah, we know, because it's in my freaking FBI file. I know that. I made a mistake.
Right.
So from that's why I'm very particular in wanting to make sure our evidence is accurate.
Okay, it looks like we're never going to get through these 15, so I'm imploring everyone to please go to fightvoterfraud.org. Let's address Dr. Steve's statements here. Because, and Dr. Steve, I told you, I'm going to say it again, call in the 5:30 hour after Linda has left so that we can have a conversation about this. But just let's address what he says here. He says that I call BS. I know this woman is a fraud. She knows that she's a fraud. He then comes back to say, I mean no disrespect, of course.
Call
her a fraud. She is entitled to her opinion. But if you're going to come on the air and make this outlandish claim about voter fraud in the plus 10 million fraudulent votes, I should love to hear an unadulterated source material, which I know she does not have. He is speaking in absolutes here.
Well, of course, people who are not in the know don't understand.
Right.
And one of the things that with myself, I don't say anything I can't back up.
See, I think that what Dr. Steve is saying here, and I was talking to you a little bit about off the air about what he wrote, is I've had this conversation with plenty of people, and I always ask them, okay, Linda makes a claim like this and says that there are tens of millions of fraudulent votes that were in the 2020 election. You think that is bull. You think that she is not telling the truth or it's some sort of, QAnon conspiracy theory. Fine, whatever. But explain to me, if you could, what is the obstacle? Like, what is the thing that is keeping you from the other side of that equation? You're here saying that it's not possible. What's the thing that keeps you from believing that it's true? And you know what they always tell me? It's the coordination. Because, again, in order for something like this to be true, they believe that there is some sort of like one kingpin who is sending out his tentacles to all of these minions across the country who make this fraud happen. You care to digest that in some sort of way?
There is more than one key person
right,
doing this.
Of course.
There are multiple ones. They could be ones that are just in the States. The information that we have, Jefferson E. Davis from Wisconsin has incredible factual information, and I believe we may actually even have it on our website because he was on my TV show. Right. And we try to bring the information forward. Andy Thompson from Nevada on the manipulation and everything that he has. All those documents probably by next Tuesday will be on our website because we just taped a 45-minute show with him explaining all the stuff plus all his court documents. And he's in the Supreme Court in Nevada at pro se without an attorney.
Right.
And then you have Marley Hornick from realamerica.vote. I mean, her lawsuit against Letitia James and all that documentation. I believe we have some of hers on our website, but I'll tell you, after this conversation, I'm going to make sure within the next week we will have all their lawsuits, their documentation to be able to show people. And then you have all the stuff that went on in Arizona.
Was this the Katie Hobbs election?
The Katie Hobbs election. Right. At that time, I had been contacted by multiple people, and I had this one woman who sent us videos of bags of ballots being brought in SUVs with California license plates into their tabulation center and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, between the counting and all the stuff that came out, there are so many issues. It is unbelievable. So it's not just one central person. And that's without getting into the machines themselves. Right. And that,
The interesting part about this, and I think that Dr. Steve, what he's missing in all of this is that he's looking at this from a very, very grand way. Like, he believes that the states, like every state was involved in some fashion or kind of fraud. You only need the states that you need, which again, it shrinks the scope if you got my meaning. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't have to worry about whether or not I have fraud going on in Texas for Joe Biden. It's not a state I'm trying to win. And if I did, it would only raise flags, right? Red flags would go up if Joe Biden had won Texas, right? So we know that. Where is Joe Biden trying to win? Swing states might be where they are. Georgia, a great example. We know that because we've seen so many of the news reports that don't hit mainstream media about fraudulent votes in DeKalb County.
Yeah, and Georgia, by the way, actually had passed a law a few years ago that you can challenge a voter that they shouldn't be voting even ahead of time. And they have to have a hearing within 10 days.
Wow.
And the first, I think, 6 months, it was over 100,000 challenges were done by people. I mean, it's just overwhelming with all the stuff. And then you have ones that are on the voter rolls that shouldn't be there, that have no identification. A number of states need the last four of your Social Security number or your driver's license number. And North Carolina was sued by the Department of Justice. And it just got re-verified. Yeah, those 100,000 names need to be verified.
Yeah.
And the Department of Justice is another big thing. People are hearing how they're suing. And then you have, do you have that baby crying thing? I mean, they're just, no, we're not going to comply. It's it's federal law that they have to give the information that the Department of Justice is asking for. And no, they are not building a database. All they are doing is taking a snapshot in time. Just like when we look at our analysis for Connecticut that we've done, and we've done it now on 14 states to prove the violations of HAVA and NBRA, it is a snapshot. It is not something that, we want your information. And, and people are getting so ridiculous about it because they think there's nefarious things that's going on. No, the ultimate part of this is to figure out where the worst of the worst is, how we can actually have voter rolls where everyone's vote counts. The vote that you cast should be counted for the person you cast it for.
Yeah.
And that is not what is happening. And then even the states that have, sending in ballots, you can send them in 10 days after the election. What?
Yeah, we can't do that.
There was one state recently, I couldn't believe this. I think it was Maine. It may be Maine. They actually start counting the absentee ballots like 3 days before the election, counting them. Are you going to tell me that nobody tells their friends what the numbers are that they see for the votes?
Yeah, good point.
That's insane. Here in Connecticut, they cannot start counting until 10 a.m. on Election Day. And the reason for that is because you can pull back your absentee ballot until 10 a.m. on Election Day.
That's a good point. Linda, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to have you back. We got to come back in January or near the end of January when the video comes out so we can do all this. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
Yeah. Let me see. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday, so we got Avon Old Farms. If you want to go back and check out this program with Linda Szyncowicz, please go to WTIC.com or download the Odyssey app or find WTIC on any of the streaming services that are available. Linda, again, this fightvoterfraud.org, you can go see the 15 sort of outlined things that can be done in order to make our elections fair. And let me just say this, folks. I have to say it. I know there's some people out there who have been like, Reese, I don't think that we can win in Connecticut. Reese, I think Connecticut is long gone. Okay. Let me put it this way, okay? Those days, those naysay days are over now. They're over now. We're all going to pick up our toys. We're going to put them back in its proper place. And we're going to grab our figurative swords and we're going to fight. And we are. And people like Linda are going to help us do that because information is key. When I tell you that she has the evidence, that's why in January, when we bring her back, what she's doing is trying to arm you with the facts. But now you've got to actually do the work. So if she makes a video for you and she puts it on the fightvoterfraud.org website, when she posts that and it's on the website, and then she comes here on the show and she talks about what's in the video, you have to go watch it. And then after you go watch it, you actually have to go act. There can be no more, hey, what do I do now? She is doing her best to give you the tools that you need. She's fed up as you are. But instead of saying the state is lost, she's trying to regain it. She sees this as an opportunity to seize it and get it back. So let's help her. Let's help you. Hell, you don't even have to do it for her. Do it for yourselves. Do it for yourselves. You can join me. I can join you. Whatever you want to do. Phrase it, whatever. You can say, hey, I got Reese on the radio on board to help me get our state back together. Fine, that's all right. Any way you want to phrase it. I'm going to put it in my bio that I did all the work, though, by the way, just so you know. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. It's still about my ego. Let's get to weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
I know.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we are back. It's Reese on the radio. I want to thank Linda Szyncowicz for joining us from fightvoterfraud.org. She'll be back here again in January when her video drops. We'll get to your phone calls before we get up out of here, so stand by. But before we go, I promised you that we were only going to have a few of them left this Christmas or this holiday season because we were going to do away with this bit on Thursday. So all of you brothers out there, feast your eyes.
Negro nonsense. How dare you? Negro nonsense. How dare you? Negro nonsense. How dare you?
Yes, in today's Negro Nonsense, we go to the SNAP program. If there could ever be something that would make you laugh, this should.
What's the point of food stamps if it's just for real food?
Hannah Moore believes she and other SNAP recipients should be able to go into the grocery store and buy whatever they like.
That's not even cool. Like, why they do that?
Getting next year's soda, candy, prepackaged sweets, prepared desserts, and juice with less than half of natural fruit or vegetable juice in it will not be allowed to be purchased on SNAP cards.
I don't know what Trump is doing. I don't know what's going on.
Missouri's move comes after the Trump administration's push to let states ban junk food products, all a part of their Make America Healthy Again agenda.
In the state's waiver application, they say healthy and nutritious families are more likely to be on the path of self-sufficiency. They add these types of foods lead to chronic diseases, such as heart disease and diabetes.
Governor Mike Kehoe says they're looking to refocus SNAP to maximize nutritional health for families.
Thank God I don't got kids, but the people out there that got kids, it's not going to be cool.
Moore says she's more into fruits and veggies, but worries about families with kids potentially unable to purchase snacks. And others like Arsenio Townsend agree.
Sometimes adults might want to snack something every now and then.
The Missouri Department of Social Services oversees SNAP, but told First Alert 4 recently that they could not break down specific items purchased by SNAP recipients. Townsend believes folks will just use cash to buy their favorite candy now.
Well, I don't think it'll make a difference, really.
The state also says they're now working to create clear guidelines to ensure the new rule is being followed.
In the famous words of my wife this morning when I played this video for her, when the old man said that sometimes some adults like to have a snack now and again, too. Roseanne said, and that's why your ass is missing a foot. That was her exact words. So I applaud her. She stopped me in my tracks. She couldn't wait until I shared that with you today. Yes, that, ladies and gentlemen, Negro Nonsense. I cannot believe that they won't let you buy junk food with food stamps because it's only called the supplemental nutrition. I can't believe these people. Let's go to the phones. Dave is in Branford. Hello, Dave.
Yeah, how are you? That was a great get for that guest.
I thought that you would love that guest. You were in mind all the way.
And whoever runs for Republican Secretary of State, they need to have the facts, the figures, the examples that woman had at her fingertips. She lost me a little bit with the estimate of 10 million fraudulent votes in 2020. I'd rather not look back. To me, that's digging up old mud.
But you know what, Dave, I had to go there because you know that's red meat for the folks who think it was. Because, look, she actually did audit those votes. So she knows it. She has the research. But people want that information. I know you're right. It is going backwards a ways now.
A couple of more points. She said Stephanie Thomas agreed with 90% of her points.
Yes.
She didn't say what they were. But the problem is Stephanie Thomas doesn't talk about it, put it out there to let us know what she's concerned about, and definitely doesn't do anything about it. That's
Correct.
the problem.
That's right.
And the other thing that really had currency with me as a long-ago landlord, you get an enormous amount of mail in the high turnover urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
After they move out, the mail keeps coming to the mailbox or the
Sure.
drop slots. And she was talking about a VIG as if the landlord was bribed. But without that, you could get, I know in 2020 when we got the mail-in absentee ballot applications,
yeah,
You could, and it would leave no fingerprints. Who filled it out? Who did this?
That's right.
It would just disappear. The landlords would get a lot of these ballots that would get mailed out to the big landlord, the big apartment houses.
Yeah.
And when everyone knows everyone, they could disappear, be filled out and sent in, and there's no way to prove who did the deed.
That's exactly right, because there's no verification at all. That was the whole scheme. That was the whole scheme.
A little bit of conspiracy. I don't want to. It's not fact checked. I think it was the Lars Larson show today. The shooter at the Brown University. Did he actually say Allahu Akbar before he opened fire? I heard that.
Let me say this to you before I let you go. So, Adam 12 today got in touch with me with a source in Rhode Island, and here's what I'm telling you. Two things that are not being reported, according to the source. One, they do know that the shooter looked for the young lady that he killed. And they did shout, Allahu Akbar.
So the mass media has not told me this after nearly a week. I am suspicious.
Your suspicion is based upon the obvious, the obvious tenets of liberal media, because if indeed both of those facts turn out to be true, if they are certified to be true, remember what the case is. One, we're talking about somebody who actively went after somebody who is a conservative in Rhode Island at that school. And it very, very well, according to what they're telling me, very well may be somebody who is heavily involved in the left activist movement.
I'm all done. Good work, man.
Thank you, man. I try my best. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Jerry in Stratford. Thanks for holding, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, I want to give you my rant, but first, regarding the votes in 2020, you don't need millions of votes. You needed, I think, a grand total of 80,000 in a winner-take-all environment to flip states from Trump to Biden.
It's absolutely right, because you can look at some of the swing states that were some of the cases.
Right, yes. You don't need millions. You just got to prove 80, 90,000.
Exactly.
Hey, but my rant it's this time of the year again, and I've gone through my bank statements, and as you might remember, for 15 years, it was 0.000% interest, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then for the last 4 or 5 years, 2, 3, 4% on your CDs and promotional rates on your savings. So what I like your listeners to keep in mind is when you have a CD mature, and if it's getting 4%, don't assume you're going to get something similar to that. It goes back to the zero, what I call the 10 cents on $1,000. It goes back to the 0.001, the 2 to 3 or 4% they call promotional rates. And now the same thing's happening with so-called high yield savings accounts, where the rate they give you is a promotional rate, but they don't tell you it only lasts a couple of months. So to put some numbers to it, I had an account in 2024 that earned me about $3,000, and I just figured out it earned me about $14. So,
wow!
Because the bank didn't tell me that the promotional rate, or if they did, they certainly didn't say, "Hey, the promotional rate's up." So, folks, look at your bank statements, and if you got a CD that's paying something positive, or a savings account, don't count on the bank to tell you it's going to nothing. You have to be very proactive. Call it lying by omission.
Yeah, there it is.
And then finally, one other point about the voting fraud thing was after the 2020 election, there was roughly 100 sworn affidavits of people who saw illegalities or irregularities. And two things happened. One was, without investigating a single one of them, William Barr proclaimed that there wasn't enough evidence to show that it made a difference in the election.
Very important point.
So he did not look, and therefore he found nothing.
Right.
And then the other was, one of those signers of affidavits was the victim of an assassination attempt. Somebody came to their house and shot them. I think it was in Michigan. So
that's correct.
This, and I would argue that the hundreds of thousands of dead people from fentanyl and heroin that happened on Biden's watch, there is a consequence. It's not just, we'll get them next time. No, there's a lot. somebody's got to figure out how this train wreck happened. The NTSB does when a plane crashes. They don't say, it's yesterday's news. No, you need to understand.
You are so right about that. They you know what? And again, it's so funny. You know what? I'll tell you this. This should make you crazy right now. It's what you just said, Jerry, that makes so much a point. Talk about no such thing as coincidences. So when Linda was here, this actually just broke. And I got to make sure I get it up on my screen. But as soon as I saw it, I told Linda, I was like, did you hear this? This actually came from Politico. Democrat National Committee blocks release of its 2024 election autopsy. Why? Why would they do that?
An excellent question. I'm not sure. And one other point with this Brown University thing.
Yeah.
Regrettably, there's been, a lot of shootings. And when it happens with older people, let's say not senior citizens, but people 18 and older, college students.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of people going up to the TV camera saying, hey, this is what I heard. This is what I saw. And I saw one guy who was like the proctor of the study thing answer one question. Where are the hundreds of students or dozens?
Yeah,
in that room?
Isn't that wild? You know what? You said something that I was making the same case in the Rob Reiner thing, right? In the Nick Reiner case, the thing that was blowing my mind, and you're right on point here. They said that they heard Nick Reiner walking up to people asking them whether or not they were famous. Hey, are you famous? Hey, are you famous? But no one has come forward to say what the screaming argument that everybody heard was about. No one heard that. In the same case with this at the school, there are very few witnesses coming forward to talk about what they've seen and what they heard. Maybe one or two people. Like no one else has come forward to talk about what they saw and what they were a witness to. It's incredible. And no one's even thought about asking them.
And think about the army of media that's descended on that town.
Indeed.
Literally everybody fled. Nobody sticked around saying, this is what I saw, this is what I heard.
Yeah.
So what it's if these SOBs with Brown University are put it this way, I would argue in their point of view, the liberal point of view, that girl checked all the wrong boxes. And quite possibly the shooter checked all the right boxes, and therefore they are putting an unattractive narrative, inconvenient truth, and they're trying to craft a narrative that's just murderous. And like Dr. Ben Carson said a few years back, political correctness kills, and it really, really does. It
really, really does. You're 100% right about that, my friend. Thanks so much. You got it. We're about to get up out of here. And someone just sent me a Connecticut Sentinel just sent me this. I know Ryan, in case you want to get him on the show. Who is, and I want to make sure that I get the right person we're talking about here. Yeah. I've got, I will let the Connecticut Sentinel. Did you guys not hear this? So tomorrow on Friday at the Avon Old Farms Hotel, Ryan Fazio is going to be my guest at 4:00. He's going to be on for an hour, so he'll be there. We did get him. Thank you guys at the Connecticut Sentinel for asking the question. Yes, we have him. He'll be on. I saw him on Sunday, and he's going to be our guest on the show tomorrow. So stand by for that. I want to thank again Linda Szyncowicz of FightVoterFraud.org. Guys, please utilize her website. It's there for you. It gives you the information that you need. I trust this woman, especially with the stuff that I've seen so far. I've got so much stuff at home and so much research I have to go over so that I can share it with you, because it's so much for anyone to read. If you can't do it in passing, you actually have to dedicate yourself to do that. And I'm going to dedicate the time to do that as well. Dr. Steve said he had to run, so he couldn't join us on the program. Maybe another time, Dr. Steve, but I'd love to get you on the air to talk about my conversation with Linda. All right, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow, and we'll see you back here next time. Mark Christopher's getting you home. He's in the BPS Driving Center. Good night, sir.